seen him in Project X, and he's a founder of private label legends. You are in the space of Amazon from 2015.
Right? It's just making money. And I used to have this attitude of buyers to their marketplace all over the world, right? Like, for example, we've seen the investment that Amazon's made in India.
And it's been long year now. And so where do you see the Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I have a very special guest with me, Mr. Tim Jordan with me. We are going to discuss a lot about product sourcing, product development, for which Mr. Tim is famous for. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the former voice of AMPM podcast. You probably have seen him in Project X, and he's a founder of private label legends. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Tim Jordan here. Hi Tim. Thank you
How are
so much.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Okay. Okay, so we are going to discuss a lot today. I have a lot of things that we want to discuss regarding obviously Amazon and product sourcing and product research, which you are famous for. You have a couple of methods that have been moving around Amazon space because it is kind of really differentiated methods that you show. So you are in the space of Amazon from 2015,
Yep.
and it's been long year now. And so where do you see in the next 2 3 years how is the Amazon space is going to be?
So I think it's going to continue to just be better and better, but for legitimate businesses. When Amazon started, it was a way where you could fake your way to the top, you could basically sell anything. And I think that a lot of people have been discouraged, and there's a lot of bad information about how Amazon is not a good business opportunity anymore. I think the people that are saying that are just frustrated because they were never doing it the right way. And now that you have to be more legitimate, it's tougher. Now, one thing that Amazon is continuing to do is they continue to bring buyers to their marketplace all over the world, right? Like, for example, we've seen the investment that Amazon's made in India, right? Not just for exports to the other markets, but also internally for Amazon India. So, as more buyers continue to come to the marketplace, as more features are rolled out, as more things are rolled out to make it easier to buy and sell, it just becomes a better place for us. They're just cleaning up the riffraff, they're cleaning up the trash. So I think for those of us that are willing to start a legitimate business and build a legitimate brand, the opportunities are just going to get better and better every day.
Yeah. So if I have to continue on that, uh, obviously you're referring to are we more into selling and building products to build up a brand, or just sell single products like what we used to do in 2018-19?
Well, there's a lot of different ways you can succeed on Amazon. A lot of people talk about brand building. A lot of people talk about creating big catalogs and moving away from Amazon. I think that everybody just needs to guess and figure out what is success for them. And for most of us, it's just making money, right? It's just making money. And I used to have this attitude of Amazon private label is the way to go, right? You have to source your product from China, put a sticker on it, and sell it. It's the only way to go. Where I've become humbled lately and realized there are a lot of ways to make money. Amazon has merch. Have you ever done anything with Amazon merch?
No, not really.
So merch is very cool because it is a print on demand service within Amazon where you basically don't have to have any capital to start. You don't have to have any inventory. You just have to be a good graphic designer, and you can use product research methods like I taught in Project X to find unique products. I use the tool Pretty Merch, PrettyMerch. Go to prettymerch.com and find all the content they have on how to start a merch account with Amazon and figure out how to start selling today without any inventory cost. But then look all the way to brand building. Like we think about people making big exits and selling their companies. These are people from all over the world. It is a little bit more complicated, but it's still very viable. It just takes a little more time. But the secret is finding something that people want and actually building something that sells. Now, you're asking about building a brand or just selling a product. That also can go both ways. I've made a lot of money on Amazon selling ridiculously simple and stupid items that I never had a brand. I never had a big catalog. It was just one item, and it sold year after year after year, and eventually sold that ace into somebody for profit. But I've also had products that I needed to build a brand. I needed to build a catalog. In fact, some of them were even slow on Amazon until I did that. So there's a million ways to succeed on Amazon. There's not just one cookie cutter approach or one singular way to succeed. And that makes it extremely interesting because people from anywhere with any amount of money, with any amount of skill set, with any amount of available time can find ways to make money on the marketplace.
Yeah. So I think it again goes back to the product research part. I have seen your video of the 80 method. Okay. I think it is quite famous because it is really different than what other teaches. And I have also seen you look more into Pinterest and other platforms for the product research part. So if I am a beginner, I have a capital of let's assume $10,000. I want to start. What are the one or two methods would you suggest? One or two platforms where we can look for product ideas?
Well, the first step is not to look for product ideas. The first step is to recognize what an idea is. And that's something you have to learn. You have to learn and understand that we sell keywords, not products, right? That Amazon is all about selling keywords. And once we learn to identify what keywords can be attached to a product, then we can start looking at these different resources in these different research areas to find those product and keyword ideas. I love when people do the research for me. And what I mean is, for example, a gift guide. All right, a gift guide is something online. It's essentially a blog where affiliate marketers post 20 different products that they suggest for giving someone as a gift. But those affiliate marketers only make money if I read the blog, click on the link, and buy that product. They get a commission. So they do hundreds of hours of research to find out what's not saturated, but what people want that have a high conversion rate, that gets good SEO traffic, right? So I can go to a gift guide blog that's doing well and instantly piggyback off of hundreds of hours of their research. I like going to subscription boxes. You can go to cratejoy.com, cratejoy.com, and it's a huge listing of subscription boxes. And you can narrow it down by the niche or the category or the topic, and you can find what these subscription boxes are putting in their boxes. And what's great is all of them are exceptionally heavily researched niches. They're not just throwing random stuff in their subscription boxes. They're doing the research to find out what people want that's unique, meaning not saturated. I love going to social curation sites like fancy.com. I also like going to reddit.com. You can go to subreddits like Shut Up and Take My Money is one where people literally just post cool products that they found. Now, once I get these product ideas, I turn them into keyword ideas, and then I have to validate. I have to go to Amazon or Walmart and make sure that people are actually searching for these products with low competition. And it might seem like it's a little slow. It might seem like, you hit a lot of dead ends, but that's actually a good thing, because in traditional selling on Amazon or private label, what happens is people fall in love with a product and they think this product is great and they don't do correct research, and they launch this product and they lose money because it's too saturated or nobody wanted it or it doesn't sell. So every time someone gets frustrated and says, "Oh, I can't find anything good," no, this just means that you're finding the ones that are bad, and that's just as valuable. Eliminate the bad ones until you find one that, oh my goodness, people actually want this thing and it's not even on Amazon, and be the first to launch it. So it takes some time, but if you do it right the first time, then you only cry once.
So once you find an idea or a product, then you go and differentiate the product completely. Like how is the limit of differentiation? Where you go and stop? Is it
It
complete mold design?
it all varies. I think that there are products that are just on the shelf and ready to go that aren't even on Amazon yet, right? They're just not there. And I've had a lot of success taking those products and making it simple. But I have had a lot of products where I did have to differentiate. I had to create something that was unique, not necessarily molds, like in Project X. In fact, I have it right here. We
Yeah.
talked about the coffin shelf,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So we found one person that was selling this. We couldn't even find a supplier. We had to buy a sample and have it replicated through a different supplier. But it was
Hmm.
basically off the shelf. I didn't have to do anything crazy. Where there are other products, let me find a sample. Like this is a project I've been working on for a long time. It is a wooden whiskey cup, and it's made of reclaimed bourbon barrels. So I take bourbon barrels from
Okay.
Kentucky. You can see the individual boards here.
Yeah.
And I've got a utility
Yeah.
patent now to make this into a wooden whiskey cup made of bourbon barrels. These will retail for about $100 each, right? And I'm actually going to
Wow.
launch those on Indiegogo. So you can go very
Okay.
simple to very advanced. Sometimes the very advanced aren't even the best products. Sometimes it's a lot of work with not a lot of effort, where you can find things that are relatively simple and underserved. We just want to make sure there is a little bit of barrier to entry so that someone can't completely replicate you, right? So we want to have, it could be a little bit of differentiation in the product. It could be better packaging. It could be
Hmm.
a complete redesign, something completely new and something completely unique. But we just don't want to buy the same old thing that everybody else has access to, launch it, and not differentiate so that other people can come in and replicate us.
And you also said that you also go and validate in Amazon and Walmart. Walmart is coming up with a very high speed. So where do you see Walmart? Is it going to be a threat towards Amazon sellers, or just Amazon sellers who are selling on Amazon? They're also going to take advantage of Walmart and just put their legs
Yeah,
into those two baskets.
it's not a threat to Amazon sellers. It's a tool to Amazon sellers. Because when we think of the objective, which is not to be a successful Amazon seller, our objective is to make money online. And we're trying to do that as easily as possible with the education that we have. So if I'm a seasoned Amazon seller, trying to learn to sell on Shopify is tough. I have to learn external traffic. I have to learn SEO. But understanding the Walmart marketplace makes it easy for me to also sell on, or if I understand the Amazon marketplace, makes it easy for
Yeah.
me to understand the Walmart marketplace because there's so many similarities. And
Mhm.
yeah, there are a few customers that go to both, but generally it's fairly unique traffic. And what's interesting about Walmart is there is about 65% of this, they have about 65% of the Amazon traffic volume sellers. So every month
Okay.
they have 65% of the same volume that Amazon does, a little more than half. But where Amazon has over 3 million sellers, Walmart has less than 100,000. So what that means is we actually have more shoppers per seller on Walmart than we do on Amazon. It's much less competitive. So there are pros and cons to it, but to answer your question, I just see it as another tool in our resource bag and not necessarily something that competes. I actually think it's good because Amazon really didn't have a marketplace competitor for a very long time. And
Yeah.
competition just makes everybody better. It makes it cheaper to sell on. It makes it more important for them to provide resources and value. Otherwise, they lose their sellers. So I think it's a good thing.
Mhm. Yeah, totally agree on that. Let's talk about sourcing for a bit. So, with COVID in the place, you do this China sourcing trips. How was that? How was that being in the last 2 years? Did you
Nobody's been to
continue that?
China. It's been tough. Yeah, I
Okay.
used to take people to China. In fact, we had a trip lined up for April 2020, and a month before that, they closed the borders and it messed up everything. So China can't be replaced instantly, but there are a lot of ways in which we can utilize alternative sourcing methods. I'm coming to India in just a few months, and I'm coming to learn how to source in India, but also to teach other people how to sell private label. It hasn't even been announced yet, but I'm actually speaking at a conference for sellers in India. And I can give you the information of that if you want to share it to your audience. But we're basically coming
Yeah.
so that I can learn, but also to
I
teach.
think it's in October, but I think the dates are not fixed yet, right?
So, yeah, so the actual conference is going to be October 10th and 11th now. And the website's not quite up yet. We're about to release the website, but it's ecomindiasummit.com.
Okay.
Check that out. So a little hint there for all of you, the first to hear it. But also, I've been heavily involved in Mexico. I actually started producing my own trade show in Mexico this year because there's
Wow.
such a demand. So there are a lot of people that want to pull out of China completely and reduce their dependency. That's not going to happen because China is 50 years ahead of most of the world in their manufacturing capability, from the technical aspect of it to the reduced cost to the ability to have raw materials. China just does it better than most people for most things. But China is getting a little more competition from Mexico and India right now, which is good. Like, it's good for us. So I've been starting to learn how to source in those two places so that I at least have options.
Yeah, I've been listening to your one of the podcasts where you were talking to Norman about that. That how Mexico can be another place for sourcing because of the less the time frame that is there. Plus, are you sure, or do you think that the kind of products that we get from China, we can manufacture those kind of thing? Maybe a little bit. It will take a little bit years for them to develop at the same level of China, but that can be a good place to source with. What is your experience with Mexico right now?
So I've learned a lot this year about Mexico, and it took me going down there. And what I've learned is Mexico actually has more capabilities than people realize. They just don't know how to market those to Westerners and to English speaking countries, right? So I learned that their capabilities are pretty strong. There are a few things that are interesting, like they have to be educated on export because a lot of the best manufacturers that I'm using now in Mexico, they didn't even sell for export. So we have to help them to get export licenses. We have to find an export broker and help educate them to the opportunity of selling to us. Another thing that Mexico is struggling a little bit with is their manufacturing's always been good, but a lot of their raw materials have always come from China. So if it's a plastic injection molding facility in Mexico, a lot of times their raw plastic beads came from China. And with supply chain issues from China, things taking forever, things costing more to ship, it has slowed down or caused a few hurdles, but most of those are being overcome because even the manufacturers in Mexico are now sourcing alternatively to either domestic sourcing. We went and visited a ceramics manufacturer, a big ceramics manufacturer in Mexico a couple months ago. And while we were there, I noticed that their giant pallets of raw clay come from the US. They buy their clay, their ceramic clay from the United States, ship it to Mexico, create their products, and then ship most of it back to the US. So I think that people are getting creative and they're getting ingenuitive, or they're using ingenuity. I think I used the wrong word there, to find ways to not be so dependent on China. But to your point, I think it's going to take a few years for everybody to catch up fully and really have a very strong pipeline of alternative sourcing options. But right now, it's better than most people think it is.
Yeah, like how do you think is the complexity or simplicity of the logistic part can be? Because obviously it is going to be much cheaper than China route, right?
Yeah, it's actually very simple and it's very fast. Shipping from Mexico to the US, we have trade agreements within the countries that makes it extremely simple. Where I would ship a container full, which is a 40-foot container from China to the US, even right now, it might cost me $15,000 and it would take me 45 or 50 days. Going from Mexico
Okay.
to the US, you put it in a truck, which is 53 feet. So it's longer than a 40-foot container. I can fit more products. And
Hmm.
it cost me about $2,000 from a city like Monterrey to Dallas. And I can have it
Okay.
in 24 hours. And
That's fast.
it cost me substantially less. So there are definitely some advantages. And with the trade agreements and ease of getting things across the border, there's huge incentives to sourcing in Mexico.
Yeah. So Tim, let's talk about some of your goals. What are you doing in this year and the coming year? What are your goals with your community and the other goals?
There's lots of stuff coming up. So pay attention over the next few months. I'll be making some pretty big announcements. But for the most part, we're just continuing to put out free content and build a community over at the Private Label Legion. We're actually going to rebrand it in the next couple months. You'll see that where we're not just going to be talking about private label, we're going to talk about e-commerce in
Okay.
general. And we're going to have content outside of that. I'm working on a merch course which will be a free course to teach people how to sell Amazon merch. I'm doing that in conjunction with Pretty Merch, the software tool, because we
Okay.
want people to start dabbling in and understanding and experimenting with selling on e-commerce without having to have money up front, right? We want them to understand how to start advertising and doing product research without having to buy a ton of inventory. And I think that merch is a great way to get started with that. And Pretty Merch is the best way to learn that stuff. I'm also going to be getting involved in some other content. I may, in the next several months, announce a new podcast. We'll see how that turns out, but we have some interesting stuff in the works there. And then I'm starting to collaborate more with just other communities and other audience holders in the space. Like I'm working with amazing.com on some pretty cool projects. I'm getting
Okay.
involved with some really good friends of mine that are experts in the space that just want to put out more free content, nothing to sell, nothing paid, that just helps sellers become more profitable or get started easier or take that first step on their journey to sell, whether they're enterprise level, huge brands, or a stay-at-home mom that just wants to make an extra $500 a month to offset some bills. We're putting together content and solutions for everybody across all of those brackets.
Yeah, I think I have you have answered maximum of my queries and questions, and also given a lot more value than to my audience as well. Also, we are extremely excited to see you in India. Hope to see you there. And do you have anything that you want to say to my audience?
No, just I hope that all of you are encouraged. I think that, speaking to your Indian audience, I think that for a long time, your ability to create a business and your ability to create profit was largely segmented to your region. right? People that grew up in developing countries. You know, I'm next week I'm going to be in Honduras and Guatemala. Very, very underdeveloped countries. And for hundreds and hundreds of years, the people in those countries were limited to their opportunities because of that. Same in India. You know, India has been a developing country for a while, but now because India is so tech savvy and there's so many engineers and there's so many smart business people in India, because e-commerce has turned out the way it is, it unlocks the potential for everybody. So no matter where you are at in the world, you can sell to anybody, anywhere, anything, basically from a laptop, computer, and the cell phone in your pocket. So I just want to share that encouragement. You're alive in an incredible time with more opportunities than anybody has ever had before. And what's really cool is the world is very interested and very focused on India, right? Whether it's supporting sellers in India that want to export to different marketplaces, whether it's manufacturers or marketplaces internally within India. Jeff Bezos flew over there for a reason. I'm coming over there for a reason because I want to learn and I want to build relationships. I think that all of us in the e-commerce world are very excited about India, and you're all in a very interesting place right now. So definitely come out to the Ecom India Summit happening in October, and I'd love to meet you. I'd love to hear what you're doing. But mostly, I just want all of you to be encouraged because we live in an amazing time, and there's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Tim, for being here. We will obviously try to bring you again to discuss more. For
Sure.
now, thank you so much. We will see you again, and I hope to see you in India. Okay.
Yep. See you later.
Okay. Bye.